Do you remember the song More Money, More Problems by Notorious B.I.G.? Money and I got more problems. So after making great money and having more houses and having more businesses and having lots of employees, my emotions didn't get better even though I was making $350,000 a year. I had 12 houses, I had the car, I could travel, I had my second home in Vail, but it was more money, more problems, is that I was more anxious because I had more people to deal with. I was more anxious because I had more problems with the rentals. I was more anxious or frustrated just because I hadn't learned the emotional fitness. If I could save you a decade of time that was lost for me, is that I figured that once I got to the money and the house, the car, and the travel, that my emotions would change, but they didn't. They actually got worse. And one of my buddies, Phil, he basically was shitting rainbows and butterflies, and he had learned these tools early on. And I was trying to figure out, wait, I had gotten all these external things that I thought my internal emotions were going to change. But unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. You actually have to start working on your emotions, and there's tools that you could use. I would say one of the best tools is going to be meditation, and basically rehearsing your mind movie of the emotions that you want to feel, and basically talking to yourself with the power statements of I am happy, I am excited. And then basically in those meditations is going through gratitude and being grateful. With all of this, I wasn't grateful. My buddy Phil, he was like talking about gratitude. And honestly, it was a foreign thing to me to think about gratitude. I mean, I used to kind of, when I would go to bed at night, thanks God for, whatever, but I wasn't very specific in regards to being grateful. Every morning now with my kids, I basically ask them, what are you grateful for today? And it's basically, I'm building this daily habit to think about what you're grateful for. And I think when you can start to appreciate and have gratitude, is that that's going to be something that can help pivot your emotions. The other piece is what are you focusing on? A lot of times in our mind, we're going to be focusing on one thing or the other. And a lot of times I was focusing on how can I make more money, even though I was making great money, or I was basically frustrated that I wasn't making more money. So your focus is going to be a huge piece of it. And usually that's a pattern and a habit that you can change easily just with a mindset shift. So if you can start to think about, hey, what am I focusing on right now? Am I focusing on that I'm grateful that I'm healthy, my kids are healthy, and that basically things in my life are going fantastic? Or am I focusing on, hey, I wish I was making more money even though I'm making good money? Or just thinking about the lack that you might have in your life. The other thing is that there's going to be an internal dialect that you have, and that language is going to repeat itself as well. So pay attention to that internal dialect of this sucks, I'm pissed, I hate this, I hate people. Some people a lot of times will even verbalize their internal dialect of how much they're not happy with themselves and or others. And pay attention to that language, because a lot of times it does repeat, and you can basically change that language very easily once you become aware of it. Number 3 is the body. Is in order to help your emotions, is that you need to move the body. A lot of times, we think that we work out just for our physical fitness, but it's actually for our mental and emotional fitness as well. I personally love to do yoga for the fact of the breathing and moving the body and stretching the body and relieving stress by some of those yoga poses and those movements and that breath. And then at the end, meditation. So it's combining all of those things together. If you haven't tried yoga, I would definitely highly recommend it, especially as we age. But if I could save you 10 years of any type of pain or negative emotion that you have, many times the negative emotion is actually what's called the emotional home. And for me, I was carrying anxiety. I can remember anxiety from 3rd grade all the way up until almost being 40, that I was anxious and or frustrated. And these two negative emotions literally stuck with me for 30 years. And now after learning these tools of meditation, focus, body, language, and making that a daily habit of what I'm focusing on, what I'm grateful for, and doing those meditations, is that I've been able to change my emotional home. So if I could save you time and anguish of recognizing what is your emotional home. I used to ask people, does a fish know it's swimming in water? Does it know that there's actually a world above the sea? So a lot of times that emotional home is so close to us, we don't even know that we're feeling that specific emotion. So pay attention to the emotions that you constantly feel. And like I said, does a fish know that it's in water? And many times it's going to be so attached to you that you don't even know that you're feeling that emotion, because it's like the example of a fish being in water. It has no clue that there's land above. So pay attention to your emotions, and if I could save you some time in regards to my biggest life learning lesson would be this emotional fitness, and to focus there and not just try to fill your happiness and your emotional fitness from the external versus focusing on the internal. If you found this helpful, make sure to subscribe for more.